Welcome to Halas Beer Hall. We're your spot for the grit and passion of Chicago sports. From the gridiron battles of the Bears to the diamond drama of the Cubs and Sox. Grab a cold one, settle in, and let's slapshot our way from the United Center to the Lakeshore Drive. This is Halas Beer Hall, where the game never ends and the passion never fades.
Big time players make big time plays.
We're ripping this thing down to the studs, and we're going to build it up.
May God bless you, but there's one thing Torrez Finney always gonna do, and that is, but if you can smell what Torrez is cooking.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Halas Beer Hall. Tonight we're locked in with the undefeated middleweight out of Georgia, two-time Georgia State wrestling champ, college football star, three-time Dana White Contender Series survivor. He's the man Dana said would get decimated in the UFC. He looked at that clip, smiled, and just kept winning. He's here, he's hungry, and he's just getting started. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Torrez, the Punisher, Finney.
Oh, man. Thank you very much for that introduction. I love that. Hey, that's very WWES. I like that.
Yes,
that.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Want to start us off? Torrez, happy late birthday. I saw that last week.
Thank you very much. I'm blessed.
There you go. Yes, sir. Well, we'll start off in the beginning. Growing up in Georgia, what was young Torrez like? He a little bit of a bad kid or good kid, or what do we got?
I was a little bit of both. Look, you got to be taught, right? Yeah. So, I wasn't, my great-great-grandma, she always tell me, Grandma Mary, she said, he was a good kid. Every time he would come over, he would just sleep and eat, never cry. So, but then there were some days, maybe with other parents, I am awake and I'm just running around tearing up stuff. So, but most of the time I always get that, I was a good kid. And honestly, I've just always been a sports kid. Ever since I was able to talk and walk, I've been a sports kid. I've been playing football since, heck, even around flag football and pad football since 4 and 5 years old, man. I've been playing football really all my life. And I started wrestling around the 7th grade. So that just always been something that I've just been accustomed to doing. So honestly, I've just been a sports kid since the moment I was young. So yes, sir.
Awesome.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Me too. Definitely a sports kid. Is that did the Punisher nickname, did that come from sports?
Yes. That actually came from when I was in middle school. I used to wrestle when I was in 7th grade. And since I was
Number one.
Yeah.
Champion.
Oh my gosh. These some guys here on the team. We, I'm currently on Daniel Cormier's team. These some of my teammates. So yeah, these guys are.
Yes, sir.
But
Awesome.
I am. I got that name when I was wrestling in 7th grade. I used to pick guys up, similar like my fight style. Pick guys up, and one of the parents was like, "Man, you're punishing these dudes." And I was a big pro wrestling fan. And my favorite wrestler was The Undertaker. And I'm a big Marvel fan. And, just as a goofy, I'm like, oh, man, I got to come up with something. And, I was just like, Punisher. And funny enough, if anybody go to my YouTube channel, I've been using, like, the Punisher versus whatever school we would wrestle. I would use that against, like, the Punisher versus Lamar County or the Punisher versus Henderson, et cetera, et cetera. So if you go on my YouTube channel, as you see, ever since 7th grade, you'll see that I've been using that ever since. And it's crazy, that I'm in combat sports because I never had the idea that I'd ever be a fighter.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
I mean, nicknamed the Punisher in 7th grade. That's probably what got you into football. No, my dad said, we got to get some pads on this kid because he's beating up a little too many kids in school. That's exactly what I was. So, yeah, Georgia, growing up in Georgia, MMA, not too prestigious. Obviously, that's SEC country. Are you a Dogs fan?
Oh, come on, man. Gotta be. Gotta be. I am a Dogs fan. While I'm not a Falcons fan, I am a Dogs fan. So, yeah, like, while I like the Steelers, but I do love the Bulldogs, man. Currently, I'm a big Kirby Smart guy, dude. I love it. And, yeah, been a Georgia Bulldogs fan ever since I was young. So, yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. I went to Kentucky, so I know what the SEC is all about down there. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We don't have to talk about Kentucky, Georgia football, but when basketball rolls around, we could call it. I'll call you then.
We had a little trouble on the basketball side, absolutely.
But yeah, man, playing football at Chattanooga. Did you have any other offers? Chattanooga just spoke to home to you, or what was the thought process of going to play football at Chattanooga?
Well, when I was coming up, I had an opportunity to. So after I went to nationals and I had became a multiple time state champ, 2-time state champ, and I went and got ninth at nationals in wrestling. I was starting to get offers more for wrestling than I was for football. Now, while I was a really good football player, I had the Georgia State I was second full time in the Georgia single season, and the SAT record I got 24. I was 1 sack away from breaking the record, and I had a really good football career. I had 131 tackles in one season. I was really good defensive player of the year, but it was my height. Me trying to play defensive line at my height. I wasn't getting those type of offers. So everywhere I was going, where I was getting offers, when I went to Duke, I'm like, hey, I'm listening. I'm going through the whole recruit process. At the end, can I play football? No, we're giving the scholarship for wrestling. And at my age at that time, you got to remember, again, I grew up in the South. When I would hear no for wrestling from Duke or North Carolina or Citadel, went to, all these different schools, and all these guys telling me no constantly. In my mindset, I'm like, nah, I don't want to go to you because, you're not allowing me to play football. But I went to UTC, Coach Heath Esslinger allowed me, crazy enough, it's just funny. He probably could tell, probably because, again, I was at that age. I'm asking, like, subtle questions, like, how's the football team? What about this? What about that? And then he he said, I know I'm offering you, but, like, what you really want to do? And he actually helped me get on the football team at UTC. So, I technically was a walk-on, which I did, but I earned my scholarship the next following year, so it was a blessing. But crazy enough, I turned around and went back and wrestled right back in college. So I did both in the same year, my freshman year. I did sustain an injury, but right when I sustained an injury, the football team had gave me my scholarship as on the football team. So
nice.
Once I got my scholarship on football, they honestly told me not to wrestle anymore. So, which at that time, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So.
Totally, yeah. Shout out, Coach, man, for giving you that shot. None of this BS. Just what does Torrez want to do? That's a coach I want to play for right there.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yes, and when he called me to ask me, because the heavyweight was, dealing with injuries, and he asked me, he said, Torrez, would you like to come back, on the wrestling team, whatever weight, I know you've gained some weight, I got all the way up to 250, and he was like, would you like to wrestle? You don't have to. And I said, bro, no, absolutely I would. You helped me get on the football team. I at least pay it forward, come back in wrestling. And I did. I wrestled for that freshman year. I did get hurt. Again, like it's two different it's two different shapes. Crazy enough. While I do feel like I was a really, really good wrestler. I had lost the first match because of injury. I tore my ACL in the first period. And I kept trying to continue to wrestle, and I just never felt my knee before. I still have the video. And I continued all the way to the second period, and the second period, I just didn't continue. I just like, why is my knee feeling like this? So, I lost my injury default. But, and then that's again, when the football team is like, oh my gosh, you just tore your ACL, in wrestling, and you don't even got a scholarship for that, and you got it for here for us, it's like, so that was the thing. But honestly, I wanted to pay the respects forward because he gave me that opportunity. But I always tell you people, like, God does everything for a reason. So, I just feel like it was really good for me, like in terms of me not being able to have that opportunity to do that. So
yeah, 100%. I know last fight you I think you pulled out of the last one. Are you feeling all right? Are you feeling better right now?
Yes, sir. Oh yes, yeah, no. I am. I'm trying. Right now, currently getting healthy. I did, had dealt with a little bit of an injury that held me back a little bit. A little bit of it was coming back from the camp following that. But right now I'm doing good.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, well, I mentioned the 11-0 record, 1-0 in the UFC with a win over Robert Valentin, split decision. That was 29-28, 29-28, 28-29. 8 takedowns for 13 minutes of control time on the ground. You got to be proud of that, man. Talk me about the inside inside the rounds in the corner. What are your coaches saying? Was the game plan always just to try and get that much control time on the ground?
Absolutely. Funny enough, no, absolutely not. The goal is to try to get one takedown and to get out there and get the finish. I made some mistake myself. Again, now I come out and say it now. I was dealing with a injury because I couldn't train for a week and a half, a little bit of 2 weeks, almost close to fight week, coming out going into that fight. But I had strained my pec a little bit, so because of that, it was just a problem because the goal was to not take him down near the cage, constantly. It was to take him down and put him towards the middle. Because as you see, I lift guys. So most of the time when I lift guys, I can take and determine where they can be. And, I always hear people talk about, my jiu-jitsu and this and that. But jiu-jitsu is one of my strongest points of my game. And I made some mistakes in that fight. That fight went the way it did because of me. And, you're talking about the scorecard, 29-28. Now, one judge, Tony Weeks, I don't know what he was looking at.
Got his name, yeah.
Yeah, but he went 30-27 for Valentine. So that was, I don't know. Because while it wasn't the most exciting thing, it wasn't the best fight, and I agree that's not the best fight, and that's not the type of fight I want to put on. I absolutely agree. There's no way you can watch that fight and say I lost every round. I'm sorry. There's just no possible way. Because that first round was absolutely dominant. And I threw strikes in that first round. Like that first round, there's no way you can watch that first round, or for sure the second, and I just don't see how you can do it. But but look, I got the win. That fight is way behind me. I've gotten so much better, and I'm blessed to now, be in the position that I'm currently in. So, we're only going to continue to get better, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Never apologize for a win, man. Never apologize for a win. You worked your ass off to get that.
That's right.
Speaking of wins, 3 wins on the Dana White Contender Series. That third time, that had to piss you off a little bit. Just give me the contract already. I'm tired of fighting in the Contender Series. Just give me the contract. What was your thought process going into that third fight, and how mentally resilient and physically resilient do you have to be to just continue to just working your ass off? And what more do you have to do at that point? I feel like at that point, that's something where you walk away and say, hey, maybe it's not it. I just keep winning and I'm not getting that contract. How did you get through that?
Well, for me, dealing with like being the underdog mentality, being resilient is something that I had to always do ever since I was young. So, while it was funny that while it was happening on like national television, people worldwide was watching, that's just something that I've had to always deal with. Again, I just told you the story of me getting up, going through the football, me eventually playing Division I football, being told I was too short, and yet I earned myself a scholarship. Even when I was wrestling, used to be always told, oh, this guy's so good, this guy's going to this college, or this guy going to this college, or this university, et cetera, et cetera. And yet I found a way to get the win. Or you're too small to play high school football at D line, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm breaking state records. I've always was told like this and this. And it was frustrating. Sometimes it was pretty cool for me because, I used to always go, I still do, like go and speak to kids or go and do like motivational speakings to certain people. And during those process, I'm having to hear and listen, to constantly to that. But I'm always telling kids, keep going, don't quit. Don't fight. Don't stop the fight because, you got to keep pushing through. Those hard times is what creates you, that molds you to being the type of person and character that you can possibly be. And for me, that was me living that my own words, me living to what I preach and living to what, God has over my heart. So I had to constantly deal with that. And yeah, the first time, I personally think I should have gotten it after the first time. But I enjoyed the journey. I'm not mad at it. I am not mad at it in the slightest. I enjoyed the journey. In the second time, I understand the fight, but again, that's sometimes my little bit of knock with the Dana White Contender Series because sometimes you are fighting another UFC guy. As we see, Cam Ralston, came back the next year, knocked out his guy on the Contender Series first round, and then knocked out Petrosky first round. So again, I'm fighting another UFC guy. Yuri Panfarov has won every single fight after he had fought me. Came back to the Contender Series, absolutely dominated a guy that had already signed to the UFC, but because he missed weight, they brought him back to the Contender Series. So like he dominated 30-27 them. And then, Abdullah Rami, another world national champion kickboxer, really good. Went out there and finished him in the first round. So these guys are really good that I'm beating, and that just showed me I was on that level. But I just kept honestly getting experience in front of the entire world. So you're just seeing me, my entire career just grow in front of y'all. And I really do. The next time I step in the cage, I think this is going to be another thing. Oh, wow, Finney has got a whole lot better.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And then after you do get that finish, you got a nice dance move I saw after that. It's a Rami fight. That was a nice move after that. Right, Dana's face. That's a victory dance right there.
That's victory dance. Y'all pulled out like a Fortnite dance. So yeah, that was something, hey, that's just a part of, that's a part of me, man. So, just enjoying the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So speaking of the future, you got any fights booked right now, or just still working on things?
We're trying to either do something in December. Funny enough, I was there at Dirty Boxing with Mick Maynard. I've been, having my management team talk, and we're trying December or hopefully January, but we're trying our best to get back in there as soon as possible. I'm ready. I really am.
You seem hungry, man.
You're in camp right now. Yeah. He seems hungry.
Yeah, I am, man. No, not currently in camp, but I'm helping a lot of guys. That currently got some fights coming up. Like I said, I'm currently here at Daniel Cormier's gym. He just started a fight team called the Academy, the Fight Club, the Academy, and these guys here are really good, man. You got a lot of guys. Like we just seen a lot of guys come off the contender. Just went on the contender series. Chapeline, he went on there. He didn't get the contract, but he'll be back absolutely. You had Tommy Gant went on the contender series and got the win and got the contract, and then you also had Emmanuel Rodriguez, who was also in the Ultimate Fighter early this year, but he went on the contender series and got himself a contract. So we got a lot of guys here. Heck, you even got Jeff Creighton, who's also an Ultimate Fighter. He's got a fight coming up for LFA. He's here. We got Dmitry Georov. He's here. He's on the team. We got a lot of guys, man, that are like really, really, and I like what DC's doing. He's trying to build it from the ground up. He doesn't really want experienced guys. He wants guys good, but like we're building up together, like similar to what AKA did. They ain't gonna get all these other guys. Kane and DC came up together, or Habib and Islam and Umar and all those guys. Luke Rocco, look at their gym. So we're basically following the same blueprint, and yeah, man, it's been really cool.
That's gonna be awesome, man. Yeah, looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to the next fight. So yeah, 11-0, 47% takedown accuracy, 100% defense so far in the UFC. That's something I'm sure DC's working on with you. That takedown defense. I know DC's getting after it.
Hey, it's funny, man. I always tell people, man, it's crazy that my wrestling's getting better while being, like learning from guys like that. But one of the biggest things here has been like my striking has really been growing. That's one of the main things we've been focusing on, and like being able to be better, on the feet. Because that's just one of the, not saying I never trained the folk. I've trained it, don't get me wrong. But like the center focus to have like a lot of high level coaches here be able to like focus on those small details to help you out. I just never had that. I have a really good jiu-jitsu coach. He's my head coach also for like MMA, Matt Harris back at home. But like for the purpose of like this, things of that nature, like for the striking purposes, this has been really good, to have DC show me a lot of the things that he was able to do and help incorporate things into my style. We got Tiago Beowulf, who's like, Muay Thai kickboxing coach here. Got Jermaine Soto, who's another kickboxing Muay Thai coach here for us, and Coach Ant Dog as well. So, we got a lot of guys here that are really benefiting not only the whole team, but really help molding my striking. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, it sounds like it, man. I mean, in the middleweight division alone, I know there's a lot of good strikers, but there's also a lot of good grapplers. Like I think a matchup with you and maybe Anthony Hernandez in the future someday. I think that's two greats going at grappling right there. That one will be fun to watch.
Yes, man. Like that's the thing about it, man. It's like I think a lot of people sleep on me in a lot of different ways, but I have so much more to offer. Obviously, because like with my A game, I'm able to do so much. And when I spar, like obviously sparring, so you open up a lot more. But now what I've been doing lately, I'm getting a lot more comfortable with things. That's why I'm so ready to fight. It's like I'm ready to like open up a little bit. Yeah. I'm gonna show the world, that I have so much more to offer them so-called my wrestling. But don't forget, like my wrestling is still gonna be a huge part of my game. But there's just gonna be some things that's in the bag that finally feeling like open up, because I am getting more comfortable on the feet. I am getting more comfortable in like certain things. I got sped runs towards the UFC myself. Like I started October 2020. By the following year, I had already turned pro. And then literally by the following year, next year, I'm already on the Contender Series. So it was all happening really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So now I am learning, some of the things that, honestly, some of the steps that I skipped. And now I'm coming back, taking my time. These past 6 months has been so beneficial for me. So I'm growing now overall as a fighter.
Honing your skills.
Is there anyone in particular you're watching striking highlights or just more technical approaches, I would say, on the feet? Any UFC fighter that you're watching that you think is an elite striker that's kind of motivating you and pushing you in the right direction?
Well, honestly, like I said, like the guys that are here that we have for, DC, it's really one of the things that's really helped pushing me, because they helping the style fit me, what I'm able to do. So it's not, is while we are there's certain things that I'm doing, obviously we take from other, it's like almost like imagine Mike Tyson in MMA, with wrestling, it's like stuff like that, also along with like Daniel Cormier in the clinch and things of that nature. So it's like some fun things that I'm like, okay, now we're finding and opening up ways and like how we're going to fight. So, that's me just growing overall as a fighter.
Cool. And if you need any highlights on eye pokes, you could watch the Cyril Gane-Aspinall fight over again. I was going to ask you about that. What's your take on the eye poke? You think they're ever going to fix that? Fix the gloves, stricter refs, take a point automatically, no warning? Do you think, like, I feel like it's pretty common now. I feel like we've seen a lot of eye pokes in the last year. I'm kind of getting that as a fan. That's not what you want to see, especially in a fight like Aspinall.
Absolutely. No, you don't want to see eye pokes. You want to like always have the opportunity to be able to see, especially a fight of that magnitude. As we know, like they say, the heavyweight champion of the world is the baddest man on the planet. And to see that fight end in a no contest, that's just not something you want to see. But eye pokes are going to happen. It's like, I can't necessarily always say like this is the comparison, but it's like saying, wish we can go a whole game without a foul, in basketball, but it's not real.
True.
It's like, let's go a whole football game without a flag, no face mask, no roughing the passer, no passing, that's just not real. You can try to do everything you can. Heck, like for instance, in targeting, you do everything you can to do these targeting rules and put these flags in and put these fines in, but it's still going to happen. So it's like, it's a part of the game. Especially when you have so many different martial arts coming from different backgrounds. And, sometimes, when you have big gloves, you're, allowed to open up your hand and, do certain things like, heck, even John Jones, open up the hands, doing certain things. So it just depends on the type of fighter. But I just don't think there's going to be much to it. Like, I just think you need to take a point from it, when it happens, because you do get warmed in the back about it. But when you get warned about it, like, you just got to make sure, like, hey, man, like, don't do this. Hey, you know this is a violation. Like, start trying to change your game to make it fit the rule. If you throw a certain kick and in practice, you're always hitting somebody in the nuts. I shouldn't use that same kick in the fight. You hit somebody in the nuts.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, unless you're intentionally trying to do it to get a break. So I don't know. Some guys try to do that. Like, you just saw this past Saturday. That was weird. I don't think the heavyweight that's with Aspinall, I can't think of his name, how to say it, but
Cyril Gane?
No. His teammate that just fought on the Apex card.
Yeah.
Anti-Diaja? Something, I can't say his name, but
can't say I got the pronunciation. I know who you're talking about, though. Yeah.
But he mistakenly poked the guy in the eye, but that wasn't his intention, as he's throwing a curry of combinations. And, you get the finish. They stop the fight. Guy was like, I got poked in the eye. They go see the replay. Never seen that before. They restart the fight.
Oh.
Guy comes back a minute later and knocks him back out. So it's like, it's crazy. Crazy.
That is crazy. All right, well, I got a couple last questions for you. I appreciate the time. Your favorite MMA fighter of all time?
Wow, that's crazy. So
you can go top three if you need.
Okay, I'm about to say that's hard for me. I did see that question. So I would say one of my favorites. While I am in the same division, I'm a big Chimaev fan. I was a big fan of him before I got in the UFC. So I love Chimaev. Oh, funny enough, I'm blessed to have him as a coach, but I love Daniel Cormier. He's one of my favorites to watch.
Yep.
And also, you know, what really got me into the sport, because I was a casual, or just as much as a casual as anybody else, but John Jones.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with greatness right there. All right, and then last question. Final word to the kid that wants to become a UFC fighter. You got any words of advice for someone looking to get into UFC and hopefully become as good as you someday?
I just say stay consistent and keep working hard. You know, keep focusing on the main thing, which is the main thing. You know, whatever you're really good at, whether you're a striker or you're a wrestler or not good at something at all, you know, make sure you have a ground game, established ground game, and established striking game, and like really focus on it and just grow up together. Because I really do believe MMA is one of those things that guys can do really from a young age. You know, ever since they're young, you know, I'm starting to think it's going to turn into what we see with football, you know, what we see with basketball, you know, the little leagues. Because heck, when I was back at home, you know, we had a few kids doing little league MMA. So like we're going to have like little league guys coming all the way up. So you need to work on it all. You know, if you have those ambitions as a young kid, like start now, get in those things now, and then you know, really stay focused on what you want to do at hand. You know, MMA, whether it means boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, get in it now. Get in it right now, because there's no such thing as I'm too old. There's no such thing. Get in it right now.
I mean, that's great advice. You got me fired up.
Yeah.
I need to start. I need to start getting into this a little bit more. But yeah, that's all I got for you, man. That's gonna do it for another episode of Halas Beer Hall. Massive thanks to Torrez. Thanks for coming on, man. And can you smell what Torrez is cooking?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate the time, man. Thanks. We're rooting for you. We'll be here for you.
Hopefully we'll see you in
Best of
December.
luck. Stay healthy.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. What you say, brother?
I said hopefully we see you in December or January, early on. You know?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
We're rooting for you. Appreciate the time, Torrez. Thanks, man.
Yes. Bye. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, a lot of things happen today.
Sometimes life deals you bananas and you gotta just say, fuck it, I'm gonna eat that shit.
I'm not touching it. Cut it. Cut it.
We're cutting it. We're done.
I had to tie that in.
We're out.
And they were all great. And they were all thrilling. And they were all dramatic.
But you know what? Get big, get tough, and get fucked.
Too bad we couldn't have had
Hot, juicy cake takes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Some
fine.
hot cakes on the griddle, you know what I'm saying?